You land in the Netherlands expecting tulips, canals, and bicycles. And sure enough, all three are waiting for you. But within minutes of stepping off the plane, you sense something else. This country runs on rhythm, precision, and a laid-back cool that's hard to define but impossible to ignore. You start in Amsterdam, because everyone does. Its postcard-perfect canals, crooked houses, and museums filled with Dutch masters are exactly what you imagined. But the city also buzzes with something more modern. You walk the streets and hear Dutch, English, French, German, all effortlessly interwoven. You feel safe, curious, energized. But then someone gives you the tip: don't just stay in Amsterdam. The real Netherlands begins when you step beyond it. And suddenly your itinerary opens up. Utrecht, Haarlem, Leiden, Rotterdam, The Hague. Each city less than an hour away. Each one completely different. You start to understand that the Netherlands isn't large in size, but it's huge in variety. Compact cities with big personalities. Coastal towns with windswept dunes. Villages where time slows down and bikes outnumber people. All accessible thanks to one of the most efficient train networks in Europe. And while you don't need to speak Dutch, you're amazed by how well the locals speak English. Not just fluently, but with jokes, idioms, and pop culture references. You learn to say dank je wel and alsjeblieft anyway, because it's polite. And the Dutch? They appreciate effort and honesty. You quickly find that Dutch directness is real. Ask how someone's doing, and they might tell you they're having a terrible day. It's not rude, it's refreshing. You get used to it. You even start to like it. You haven't even seen the tulips yet, or tasted the stroopwafels, or biked across a city. But already, something tells you this trip is going to be different. Not just beautiful, but unexpectedly insightful. The Netherlands doesn't overwhelm you with flash. It invites you into its balance of function, creativity, and quiet confidence. And you're ready to see what lies beyond the clichés. Before you even pack a bag, you're faced with a decision that will shape your entire experience. When should you go? Like much of Europe, the Netherlands changes dramatically with the seasons, and each one tells a different story. You imagine spring first, and for good reason. From late March to early May, the country blooms. Literally. Fields of tulips, daffodils, and hyacinths stretch like technicolor carpets across the landscape. You dream of walking through Keukenhof gardens, camera in hand, the air filled with floral sweetness. Spring is mild, breezy, and beautiful, but also busy. You'll need to plan ahead if you want to see the blooms at their best. Then comes summer, and with it, long days and endless bike rides. Locals spill into parks, canal-side cafes buzz with energy, and outdoor festivals fill the calendar. You picture yourself sipping beer in a shaded square or taking a train to the beach at Zandvoort aan Zee. Summer is peak season, vibrant and alive, but also pricier and more crowded. You don't mind. You came to experience life, not avoid it. Autumn paints a different picture. September through November brings golden trees lining the canals, fewer tourists, and a crispness in the air that feels romantic. You wander through Leiden in a light jacket, the leaves crunching under your boots. Coffee shops feel cozier, and cities like Utrecht or Delft seem to exhale after summer's rush. If you like calm, color, and fewer crowds, this might be your season. And then there's winter, a gamble but one with rewards. December brings festive lights and charming Christmas markets. If you're lucky, the canals freeze and you'll see locals ice skating to work, a rare but magical event. It's cold and dark, but also peaceful and authentic. Museums are quiet. Hotels are cheaper. You find beauty in the stillness. You quickly realize there's no bad time to visit the Netherlands, only different moods. The key is to know your own and match it with the season. Because here, even the weather feels intentional. Rain? You'll learn to love it. And as long as you bring a jacket, a good pair of shoes, and an open mind, you'll never regret the season you choose. You thought the Netherlands would be just charming canals and tall houses. But soon, you realize the most interesting thing isn't the architecture. It's the people. The Dutch have a way about them that's hard to pin down. They're direct, efficient, and surprisingly informal. No sugarcoating, no fuss. If something is good, they'll tell you. If something is bad, they'll also tell you. And you learn quickly, it's not rude, it's honest. You ask someone how they're doing, and instead of a casual "I'm fine," they might say, "Actually, I've had a terrible week." No drama, just truth. At first, it catches you off guard. But after a few days, you start to appreciate the clarity. You even start speaking a little more directly yourself. And then there's the tone. The Dutch are modest. They don't brag. They don't expect praise. If you compliment someone, they might just shrug or say, "It's okay." That's not self-deprecation. It's just how they are. You begin to notice that everyone, from CEOs to cyclists, is treated equally. There's little sense of hierarchy here. And that makes the country feel open and accessible. One thing you learn fast: don't be late. Punctuality is a sign of respect. Show up at 10:02 for a 10 o'clock meeting, and someone might gently let you know. Even for social plans, being on time is expected. It's not about being rigid. It's about being considerate. You also notice how quiet things are, especially at night. There's a respect for personal space and peace. Loud conversations on public transport, not common. Blocking the bike lane? A quick way to get yelled at. You step out of the way. You lower your voice. And you realize, this country runs on unwritten rules that everyone quietly honors. Even greetings matter. HOI is friendly. Dag is polite. Guten Morgen shows effort. A smile and a nod go a long way. You're not expected to be perfect. Just aware, observant, open. And slowly, the Netherlands starts to make more sense. It's not trying to impress you. It's inviting you to join its flow. Calm, grounded, and remarkably human. You arrive in the Netherlands expecting to walk or take buses. But it doesn't take long to notice the real star of the show: bikes. Hundreds of them. Thousands. Everywhere. At first, it's overwhelming. There are dedicated bike lanes, special signals, even multi-level bike parking garages. People ride in suits, with groceries, with dogs, with kids. You watch a teenager pedal one-handed while texting and drinking a smoothie. It looks chaotic, but somehow, it works. And then it clicks. Bikes aren't just transportation here. They're freedom. The country is flat, the infrastructure flawless, and distance is short. So you rent a bike. And soon you're gliding past canals and windmills, feeling more Dutch with every turn of the pedals. But you also learn the rules fast. Never walk in a bike lane. Don't stop in the middle of a cycle path. Always lock your bike, with 2 locks if possible. You're sharing the road, and the Dutch take biking seriously. You adjust, you flow. You start to love it. Still, you won't bike everywhere, and that's where public transport comes in. The Dutch system is a dream. Clean, fast, punctual. Trains connect nearly every town and city. You download the NS app to check schedules and buy tickets. For buses, trams, and metro systems, especially in cities like Amsterdam, Rotterdam, or The Hague, you use an OV chip card or just tap your contactless card or phone. And then there are the ferries, especially in Amsterdam. Quiet, free, and surprisingly scenic. You cross the IJ River just because you can. You learn about sprinters, local trains, and intercities, faster, long-distance trains. You sit by the window watching cows in green pastures and wind turbines turning lazily in the distance. The beauty? Everything connects. Even small villages have bus stops. Even remote stations have bike racks. The entire country is designed to move without stress. You realize this is more than convenience, it's culture. A country built for motion but never for rush. For progress, but not pressure. And as you cycle through the city or catch a train to the next town, you start to feel it too. You're not just going places. You're traveling the Dutch way. Freely, efficiently, and always forward. You've booked your ticket, mapped out your route, and now it's time to decide where you'll sleep. In the Netherlands, where you stay shapes how you experience the country. In Amsterdam, the options are endless, but also expensive. You quickly discover that even modest hotels can come with luxury prices. So you get strategic. You consider staying in nearby towns like Haarlem, Zaandam, or Utrecht, where prices drop and charm increases, but trains still whisk you to the capital in under 30 minutes. You also learn that Dutch hotels tend to be compact. Rooms are small but spotless. Elevators are optional. Stairs can be steep, especially in older canal houses turned B&Bs. You start packing lighter, but you don't need 5 stars for a memorable stay. You find boutique hotels in converted canal homes, complete with creaky wooden floors and windows that open to the sound of church bells. You discover design-forward stays in Rotterdam, where architecture takes center stage. You book a floating hotel in Utrecht, where your view is the rippling canal below. Want something more local? Try a B&B, bed and breakfast. Many are run by families, and some include bikes, garden views, or homemade Dutch pancakes in the morning. And then there's farm stays and countryside lodges. Outside the cities, you sleep in converted barns, surrounded by sheep in silence. You wake to dew on the grass and cows lowing in the distance. It feels like another world, slower, softer, and incredibly Dutch. For budget travel, hostels are safe, clean, and increasingly stylish. Many offer private rooms and free walking tours. Or, if you're with friends or staying longer, Airbnb apartments give you your own little slice of a Dutch neighborhood, where you can shop at local markets and cook your own meals. One thing is true across the board: book early, especially in spring, summer, and during major holidays. The best places go fast. By the end of your trip, you realize the hotel wasn't just a place to sleep. It was a part of your story. A canal view, a bike by the door, a quiet moment in a bustling city. Because in the Netherlands, even rest feels intentional, thoughtful, and quietly beautiful. You didn't come to the Netherlands for the food, or so you thought. But then, one bite into a warm, gooey stroopwafel, and everything changes. The Dutch cuisine may not be flashy, but it's comforting, hearty, and often surprisingly good. You start your mornings with thick slices of bread, slathered in butter and topped with hagelslag, tiny chocolate sprinkles that Dutch adults eat without shame. It's simple, sweet, and suddenly your new favorite breakfast. Then there's cheese. You walk into a market and find stall after stall offering samples of Gouda, Edam, and aged Boerenkas. Nutty, sharp, creamy. The flavors are bolder than you expected. You buy a wedge to go, wrapped in paper, and eaten on a bench by the canal. It's a picnic you'll remember. You try croquette and crispy, deep-fried rolls filled with creamy meat ragu, served in buns or straight from vending machines in Fibo, a uniquely Dutch fast food experience. It's odd, a little retro, but weirdly good. And then there's herring. Raw, pickled, usually eaten with onions and pickles, and held by the tail. You hesitate, but try it anyway. Salty, briny, surprisingly fresh. You feel proud, a little more Dutch already. You discover poffertjes, tiny fluffy pancakes dusted with powdered sugar and butter. You eat them in a square in Delft, while church bells ring overhead. Then patat. The Dutch take on fries, thick, golden, served in paper cones with a dollop of mayonnaise or patat oorlog, peanut ceri sauce, mayo, and onions. It sounds strange, but it works. Dining out feels relaxed. Dutch restaurants are casual but stylish, and the portions reasonable. You don't see much waste. Tap water is drinkable and free if you ask politely. Tipping is minimal. Round up the bill, or leave 5 to 10% for great service. You try Indonesian ristafel, a colonial-era culinary legacy. Dozens of small dishes, spicy, savory, unforgettable. You realize that Dutch food tells stories of trade, history, simplicity, and global connections. By the end of the trip, you're no longer surprised when a modest dish knocks you off your feet. Because Dutch cuisine isn't about show. It's about comfort, character, and little moments of delicious joy. You knew the Dutch spoke English, but what you didn't expect was just how well. Almost everyone you meet speaks fluently, often better than you do. Not just polite phrases, but full conversations. Jokes, sarcasm. It's impressive and comforting. Still, you learn quickly that making the effort to use a few Dutch words goes a long way. You try Dankjewel. Thank you. Alsjeblieft. Please. You're welcome. Goedemorgen. Good morning. Tot ziens. See you later. They're not required, but they're appreciated. The Dutch notice the effort. They might even switch back to Dutch when replying, assuming you understand more than you do. You laugh, and they laugh too, but language is just the beginning. What really helps you blend in is understanding the tone of Dutch culture, calm, direct, and practical. The Dutch aren't into small talk. They don't ask how your day is, unless they really want to know. If you ask for feedback, they'll give it honestly. If you cut the line, they'll call you out. Not angrily, just directly. It's not rude, it's just efficient, and this efficiency shows up everywhere. At cafes, you won't be approached every 5 minutes by your server. If you want to pay, you ask. If you want water, you request it. The Dutch give space and expect you to take initiative. You get used to it. You even start to prefer it. You also notice the unwritten social rules. Don't walk in the bike lane. Be on time. Speak softly on public transport. Don't act entitled, even if you're a tourist. And then there's Dutch modesty, a quiet confidence without flash. You don't see big cars or flashy outfits. Wealth isn't something to flaunt. Status isn't obvious. Everyone seems grounded. You realize that blending in here isn't about looking Dutch. It's about acting thoughtfully, moving with awareness, speaking with purpose, listening more than talking. And somewhere along the way, you stop feeling like a visitor. You start to feel like a guest who belongs. Not because you fit in perfectly, but because you respect the space you're in. You didn't expect to find so much joy here. But then again, the Dutch know how to celebrate life. Not in flashy, loud, over-the-top ways, but in deeply rooted traditions, shared experiences, and moments that bring people together. Your timing is perfect. You arrive just in time for King's Day, Koningsdag, the most Dutch of holidays. The entire country dresses in orange, canals fill with music, streets become flea markets, and boats turn into floating dance floors. You join the crowd wearing your own splash of orange and feel the energy, festive, free, and completely unpretentious. It's not about spectacle, it's about community. Later in spring, you witness Bloemen Corso, the famous flower parade, where massive floats covered in tulips and hyacinths roll through towns. The scent alone is enough to make you pause. It's stunning, yes, but also made by volunteers, gardeners, families. Pride is in the petals. In the summer, every town seems to have its own festival. Jazz in Amersfoort, theater in Deventer, dance in Rotterdam. You stumble into a food truck fair in Utrecht, tasting local cheeses and Surinamese curry while live music plays from a boat stage. Then there's Sinterklaas in December. Long before Santa arrives, the Dutch celebrate the arrival of Saint Nicholas, who comes by boat from Spain. You watch as kids sing, adults hand out candy, and shoes are left by fireplaces to be filled with treats. It's cozy, playful, and deeply traditional. Even the quiet moments feel meaningful. On May 4th, you stand with a crowd as the nation observes 2 minutes of silence for Remembrance Day. The tram stops. Bicycles pause. Conversations fade. You've never experienced stillness like it, a shared pause across an entire country. You begin to see the beauty in these moments, large or small, loud or silent. The Dutch don't throw the biggest parties, but they throw the most intentional ones. Rooted in culture, built on community, and you realize you didn't need to time your trip perfectly to catch a celebration. Because in the Netherlands, every season has something to share if you just show up with curiosity. By now, you're comfortable. You've biked alongside locals, ordered lunch in Dutch, and crossed cities with ease. But even the most prepared travelers make missteps. In the Netherlands, the mistakes are subtle, but they matter. The most common? Walking in the bike lane. You only do it once. The sound of a bell ringing sharply behind you. A polite warning, but firm. You quickly learn to stay right, look both ways for bikes, not cars, and treat cyclists like the kings of the road they are. Another mistake? Assuming Amsterdam is all the Netherlands has to offer. It's a beautiful city, yes. But if that's all you see, you're missing the soul of the country. Rotterdam is bold and modern. Utrecht is charming and youthful. Delft is historic and peaceful. Each city is a new story, and they're all close, thanks to the train network. You also learn not to expect constant service. In restaurants and cafes, servers don't hover. If you want the bill, you ask. If you need something, you wave politely. It's not rude. It's a reflection of Dutch independence. They'll leave you alone, trusting you'll speak up when needed. And don't make the mistake of being too loud in public spaces. Whether it's the train, a museum, or a residential street, volume is kept low. The Dutch value peace and privacy. Speak calmly, laugh freely, but not disruptively. You're sharing space. Then there's underestimating the weather. Sunshine in the morning doesn't mean sunshine by noon. The Dutch carry raincoats, not umbrellas, and layer up in every season. You start doing the same. One last thing. Don't assume weed is legal everywhere. Yes, it's tolerated in coffee shops in certain cities, but it's not legal in public. Don't light up in parks or hotel rooms, and never take it across borders. The tolerance is cultural, not careless. The truth is, Dutch society isn't full of rules. It's built on mutual respect. You're free to enjoy the country fully, but expected to do so thoughtfully. And by avoiding these small mistakes, you gain something bigger. A deeper connection to the place and its people. You're not just passing through. You're traveling with intention, and it shows. The last morning comes quietly. You sip your coffee by the canal, the soft clink of bike bells in the distance, and realize you don't want to leave. Not yet. Not because there's more to see, though there always is, but because you've gotten used to this rhythm. The calm, the flow, the Dutch way of being. You came expecting charming views and picturesque towns, and you got them. But you also got something more subtle, more powerful. You got a glimpse of a country that balances freedom with structure, beauty with practicality, and individualism with community. You think back to the bikes, how everyone moves independently, yet in harmony. No horns, no pushing, just trust. And that's how the Netherlands feels now, like a place built on quiet trust. You remember the food, not flashy, but comforting. The people, not overly warm, but deeply real. The cities, not vast, but endlessly rich. You didn't just photograph windmills. You had conversations that shifted your perspective. You didn't just eat stroopwafels. You sat on steps by a canal, sharing one with a stranger who gave you directions in perfect English. You also remember what the Netherlands taught you. That silence can be golden. That honesty, even when blunt, is refreshing. That respect isn't always spoken, but it's always felt. You board your train to the airport and watch the countryside pass. Green fields, grazing sheep, brick houses, the occasional windmill turning slowly in the breeze. You're leaving, but the lessons stay. You'll carry this place home with you, in how you move through crowds more mindfully, in how you speak more directly, in how you find beauty in simplicity. The Netherlands doesn't try to dazzle you. It simply welcomes you to live well, to move well, to be present. And now, wherever you go next, part of you will always be pedaling beside a canal beneath a gray sky, with raindrops on your jacket and clarity in your mind. Because you didn't just visit the Netherlands, you understood it and let it change you.